Hey, good Tuesday morning, my friends. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa, and got a lot for you, but the main theme is, yes, this is really happening. I figured, you know what? What the heck? We're going tropical shirt again today because we do think we're going to have some much warmer temperatures on the way. I guess I shouldn't say warm, but much warmer temperatures on the way here over the next 6 to 10 days. So I figured, you know what? What the heck? We're going with tropical shirt. Let me get to our comments here, and we're all set to go. Now, how does that sound? Good morning, everyone. So here we go. This is what we're going to talk about today. Good morning, Maureen Dwyer. We're going to talk about when the next storm system is coming in. When. I'm going to step back. Usually I talk about today and then look at the big picture, but I think the big picture is important. So we're going to look at the big picture first and then step back to the next storm. And in the coming days, some mild winter weather is on the way. So let's get to it and show you what's going on. Here is that big picture. And the big picture that I want to tell you is we are still in a stormy pattern. Not so much frequency of storms, but one storm a week, size of storm, and moisture amount. Hey, John Hicks from Smyrna, Georgia. Good morning. Good morning, Russ Robinson from Ann Arbor and Christy Barber. Good morning. So what you see here is look at the moisture streaming in from the Southwest Pacific into the Southwest U.S. And then you see these curly things out in the Pacific. Those are storm systems. So the storm systems coming in the West Coast, by the way, I would anticipate, I haven't looked in the last week or two, but I would anticipate the big red blob of warm water out in the Pacific that was blocking our storms from coming into the West Coast, that is gone. So the whole pattern changes. So what you're seeing is storm systems coming on shore, and those are fully fed by a moisture flow to the southwest out of the Pacific. I wanted to back up even further and show you the wider perspective. Look at where that plume of moisture comes from that feeds into these storm systems hitting the west coast of the U.S. Look all the way back, all the way into the tropical Pacific. That's why these storm systems can have half inch, inch and a half. 2 storms ago, 3.5 inches of moisture, which is unheard of for winter storms because of colder air. Usually your max is a half inch, maybe getting close to an inch. All right. Hey, Mark Ambrosi, my buddy on Duck Lake, Michigan, up here in Interlaken. Good morning, Mark Ambrosi. You finally figured out how to find us. I like that idea. All right. So there's the big picture. Here's the short-term picture for today. Good travel. No problems. No weather systems around. Now we go to the models, and we're looking at the European, and we'll start to eye up the next storm system. And hey, folks, I apologize. This is the way weather data looks. It's a lot of squiggly lines. So what you got to train yourself to do, if you're just joining us for the first time, I'll point out some things. You got to train yourself to find Florida, find Texas, find California. Train yourself to find the Great Lakes in the back layer, okay? It's a lot of squiggly stuff, I admit, but there's so much info that I can portray to you here. This is what we have to do. Pamela, how long the cold? Yes, we have had a couple of cold mornings, very cold mornings in places where it's cleared. How long? I'd call it one more day because we're slowly moderating each day. Hey, thank you, Michael Harris. Yeah, we're going tropical here. This is my sign to you that we do have some milder air on the way. Good morning, Don Kuhn and Sid Smith and TJ Brewer. So here we go. All right. So when is the next storm? The first thing I want you to pick out on this is see the red lines. Those are temperatures that would produce rain and generally mild weather. So what you're seeing is it's warming up in Western Canada. It's warming up to our west, and it's slowly heading this way. We're into late Wednesday now, and a storm system with arc of moisture coming into the UP and trying to inch into the western part of the lower peninsula, but not doing so. This is Thursday morning. East side of the state stays dry. And when does the next storm system come in? We're into Thursday night. Now we're into Friday morning. And of course, it comes on Friday. Again, another one of these fully mature storms, but this one just does not have much cold air behind it. And a storm can't work that way. In simplistic terms, to make a storm robust, it's got to have warmth coming up the east side of it and cold coming down the west side of it. And when you get warmth up into Canada to feed behind these storms, it just doesn't make much of a storm system. Hey, Fred Janiski from Oklahoma. How's it in Oklahoma this morning? So now we're at middle of Friday night, Saturday morning. And of course, that's when we get our moisture, Saturday again. And, you know, in my mind, it could be some snow, but it also will be real tough to accumulate a lot over a large area with temperatures at 35 to 37. Not to say it can't happen. What typically happens in these is right under the center of the upper level low, about a 50-mile strip. It's cold enough aloft to bring down some very heavy wet snow. You get this strip of heavy snow and then nothing on either side of it. That's probably what we'll watch for with this one. And it'll probably be somewhere southern half of Michigan or northern Indiana, northern Ohio. What's a onesie weather, Kenyon Spro? I'm not really sure. Am I wearing a onesie? No, I'm not wearing a onesie. So we go into the weekend, and then as we go into next week, again, just no real cold air in sight. Look toward the end of this, out 10 days. Look at how the warmth is building up in Canada just to our west, and it's really hard to get very cold for an extended time period with warmth coming in from northwestern Canada. So it looks like winter's going to be wintry here the next 2 weeks, but on the mild winter side. A little closer of a look for you here. So we're into Wednesday. This is Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So could you get into some snow along the shoreline, even down into Grand Haven and South Haven and Saugatuck? Yeah, possible, but more likely the UP, nothing in lower Michigan until we get to about, this is Friday morning. And there again, you can see how without the cold air in place ahead of it, without the cold air in place behind it, you see a lot of mix, you see some rain in there. It's just really hard to have a significant weather system with something like that, with the temperature pattern that we have. Leave you with one last thing. Vivid Sunders has footy PJs this time of the year. Yeah, those would be pretty nice. We're cold today, upper 20s, but that's nothing extreme. That's about normal cold. Now, tomorrow we add on a couple of degrees, get us into the low 30s in a lot of places. And by Thursday, we add on 2 more degrees, get us to 33 to 35, 37-ish in some places. Friday, we add on a couple of more degrees, 37. Now we're starting to get at about 8 to 10 degrees warmer than normal. And you're starting to get to the feel where you say, this isn't really that cold of a day for January. And then we go into Saturday. And again, with temperatures like that, you'd say one thing has to be wrong. Either we're not going to get snow much at 37 in a lot of places, or the temperatures are going to be wrong. Annie Burt says, let's take some questions here. Do the Great Lakes have ice? Some, 11%. I'm actually going to do a post on that this later on this morning and show you how it compares to other years and try to figure out some kind of normal. Steven Tyler PJs. Okay. Thank you, Michael Harris. Ice and Standish Saturday safe? No. No way. Hey, good morning, Richard Spranger. He's a pilot friend of mine. Torres. I like how first half of your name, Torres, Torre Grossa. Let's add 50 degrees. Let's not get too extreme. When weather gets extreme, things get out of whack. We can probably handle 5 to 10 degrees warmer than normal at this time of the year. But you go too crazy, and you get a lot of weird stuff going on. Dean Hartman, you going to Frankenmuth this weekend? Yeah, probably. Is it Snowfest weekend? I think it is. And you know what? 35 to 37 at Snowfest is perfect. Might sound like a lot of melting, and there is some melting there. Not fast melting, but it's also very comfortable to walk outside and enjoy yourself. So they've learned over the years, they'll take 35 over 25 just because it brings a lot more people. 2014 winter, the worst for ice in the Great Lakes. Yes, in fact, I'm going to compare it to then. We're at 11% ice right now, and I think back then, I think we were getting to 60%. If I can remember from early this morning. I had to make it from Bay City to Battle Creek and back this weekend. All these weekend storms. Yeah, this one is a storm system, but again, at 35, 37, not much cold air before it. This one I would say is probably going to be the least troublesome of the last of the three that we've had this weekend coming up, last weekend, and the weekend before that. Driving from Kalamazoo to Grand Rapids on Saturday, keep an eye on it. I'm not going to say it's not going to be snow, but again, I haven't seen really any major snowstorms at 35 to 37 degrees. So something's got to be wrong. No major snowstorm. And I'm not calling for a major snowstorm. I don't think anybody has just yet. It's just we've kind of gotten into that routine that here comes a weekend snowstorm. So this one's going to probably struggle to give us hazardous conditions. But again, we will keep an eye on it because it's still several days out. Why does it only snow on weekends, Chris Ogdahl? That's a great question. It's the pattern we're in right now. It's the hemispheric pattern. There are about 4 waves around the hemisphere, stagnant waves, what we call the long wave pattern. It's a very stable pattern, and that means one storm system a week about feeding into the U.S. and coming our way. And it's just lined up so that when that started, it started on a Friday, Saturday, and here we are. Any lake effect this week in Northwest Lower, Rob Guizdala? Not now. We've had the lake effect. We got plenty of snow. Interlachen has about 15 inches of snow on the ground, or as you might say, Interlachen. But no more additional lake effect, just not any cold air there for it, or cold enough air and the type of flow. We've been cold the past few mornings, but there hasn't been any sort of wind flow. Hey, good morning, Steve Swanson from Midland. Good morning, Toby Eyestone, and good morning, Mickey Carson from Standish. Toby Eyestone, good morning, good morning, good morning. There you go. So that's your morning weather update. Good travel today, Wednesday, Thursday, as far as winter goes. And then the precipitation starts to come back in Friday into Saturday. And it's something to watch because any storm that comes out of the southwest with Pacific Southwest moisture, we watch it because it has the potential for doing something. So there we go. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Thanks for joining me this morning here on MLive. And we do this every morning, so make sure you please hit the share button when we're on live. I would appreciate it greatly. That's, how we gauge our success. If it's useful to you and you keep coming back and you spread the word. Remember that old commercial? I can't remember what it was. You tell 2 friends, and they'll tell 2 friends, and then they'll tell 2 friends. That was from back in the 70s. I could still see the TV screen, and they would show 2 people, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16. They didn't know about social media back then and share and things going viral. So I'll get off my soapbox now, but if you could hit the share button, appreciate it greatly. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Have a